Hannah Julia arrives at Rancho Esperanza with nothing but a suitcase and a shattered sense of self-worth. But when a stoic rancher sees in her what no one else ever has, a single moment changes everything. Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The bus rattled down the dusty country road, kicking up clouds of dirt behind it. Ana Julia Freitas clutched her worn backpack to her chest, her knuckles white with tension. At 25, she felt like she'd already lived several lifetimes, each one more disappointing than the last. Rancho Esperanza, next stop, the driver called out. Hope Ranch. The irony wasn't lost on Ana Julia. Hope was something she'd given up on a long time ago. As the bus slowed to a stop, she took a deep breath. This job was her last chance. After being fired from the diner in town, where the manager had called her too slow and not bright enough, in front of all the customers, she needed this seasonal work badly. Her family back home had made it clear they wouldn't help her anymore. Another failure, her father had called her on their last phone call. Ana Julia stepped off the bus with her single suitcase and backpack. The ranch spread out before her, fields of green, a cluster of buildings, and in the distance mountains that seemed to touch the sky. You must be Ana, a woman in her 60s approached with a kind smile. I'm Martha, the housekeeper. Gabriel asked me to show you to your cabin. Thank you, Ana Julia said quietly, following the older woman down a dirt path. You'll like it here, Martha continued. The work is hard, but the air is clean, and the boss is fair. Not like some ranchers around these parts. Ana Julia nodded but said nothing. She'd learned that people's kindness often had limits. Best not to get too comfortable. The cabin was small but clean. A bed with fresh linens, a tiny bathroom, a kitchenette, and a wooden table with 2 chairs. It was more than she'd expected. Rest up tonight, Martha said. You start at 6 tomorrow morning. Breakfast is at 5 in the main house if you want it. Alone in her cabin, Ana Julia unpacked her few belongings. She placed her mother's old photo on the nightstand, the only person who had ever believed in her gone too soon. It's just for a month, she whispered to herself. Keep your head down, do the work, take the money, and go. The next morning came too quickly. Hannah Julia arrived at the main house at 4:45, not wanting to be late on her first day. The kitchen was warm and smelled of coffee and fresh bread. You're early, Martha noted approvingly, sliding a plate of eggs and toast toward her. Eat up. You'll need your strength. Other workers began to filter in. 2 older men who nodded politely, a young guy about her age who introduced himself as Miguel, and a woman named Teresa who looked to be in her 40s. The new girl? Teresa asked, looking Ana Julia up and down. Hope you're not afraid to get dirty. I'm not, Ana Julia replied, her voice stronger than she felt. At 6 sharp, they gathered outside where a tall man stood waiting. Even if Martha hadn't told her, Ana Julia would have known instantly he was the owner. There was something about the way he stood, calm, confident, his eyes scanning the horizon of his land. His face was tanned from the sun, with lines at the corners of his eyes that suggested he smiled sometimes, though his expression now was serious. Morning, he said simply. I'm Gabriel Mello. For those who don't know me, this is my ranch. His eyes rested briefly on Ana Julia, the only newcomer. We've got a busy season ahead. Miguel, you'll show Ana the ropes today. Start with the feed storage and the morning routine for the horses. Everyone dispersed to their tasks. Miguel grinned at her. Don't worry, it's not as scary as he looks. Gabriel's tough but fair. Been running this place since his dad died 10 years ago. Turned it around from nearly bankrupt to one of the best in the region. Ana Julia followed Miguel to a large storage barn. We start by measuring feed for each section, he explained, showing her the different bins and how much to distribute. Got it, she said, determined to learn quickly. Miguel left her to fill a box with feed while he went to get the morning water report. Ana Julia carefully measured the amounts, double-checking each scoop. She lifted the heavy box and turned toward the door. That's when it happened. Her foot caught on an uneven floorboard and she stumbled. The box flew from her hands, feed scattering everywhere across the barn floor. No, she gasped, dropping to her knees to try to gather it up. Tears of frustration burned her eyes. First day, first task, and she'd already messed up. "I mess up everything," she muttered to herself. "I shouldn't even be here." "That's not true," a deep voice said from behind her. "And don't say it again." Hannah Julia whirled around to find Gabriel Mello standing in the doorway watching her. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. "I'm sorry," she stammered. "I'll clean it up. I'll replace it." Gabriel crouched beside her and began scooping feed back into the bin. "The floorboard's loose. I've been meaning to fix it." His voice was calm, matter of fact. "You're not the first to trip there." Anna Julia kept her eyes down, scooping up handfuls of feed. "I should have been more careful." Gabriel was quiet for a moment. Then, in a voice so soft she almost didn't hear it, he said, "You're worth more than this whole farm. You just don't know it yet." Her head snapped up, eyes wide with surprise. What was that supposed to mean? But Gabriel's face revealed nothing as he continued to help clean up the spill. "Get a new box when you're done here," he said, standing up, "and watch that board until I get around to fixing it." He was gone before she could respond, leaving Anna Julia bewildered. Nobody had ever said anything like that to her before. Especially not after she'd made a mistake. By lunchtime, Anna Julia's muscles ached from the morning's work. She'd fed the horses, learned how to check their water troughs, and helped Miguel clean out 2 stalls. Despite the physical toll, she felt a small sense of accomplishment. In the staff dining room, she sat quietly at the end of the table, listening to the others talk about ranch business. Gabriel wasn't there. Martha explained he often ate in, to his office or out in the fields. "So what's your story?" Teresa asked, eyeing Anna Julia. "Most people don't come all the way out here unless they're running from something." Anna Julia tensed. "I needed work, that's all." "Leave her be, Teresa," Martha scolded gently. "Girl's worked hard all morning." "Doesn't need the 3rd degree with her lunch," Teresa shrugged. "Just making conversation." After lunch, Anna Julia was assigned to help sort supplies in the main storage shed. As she worked, she couldn't help but notice a photograph hanging on the wall. A younger Gabriel with an older man who had the same strong jawline, standing proudly in front of the ranch house. "That's Gabriel and his father," Martha said, noticing Anna Julia's interest as she brought in some clean rags. "Taken about a year before Juan died. Heart attack out in the South Field. Gabriel found him." Anna Julia felt a pang of sympathy. "That must have been hard." "Nearly lost the ranch after that," Martha continued. "Bank was ready to take it all, but that boy—" She nodded at the photo. "Worked day and night for 3 years straight. Paid off the debts, modernized where he could, built it all back up." There was unmistakable pride in Martha's voice. "Doesn't talk much about it, though. Doesn't talk much about anything personal, truth be told." As the days passed, Anna Julia fell into the rhythm of ranch life. Wake at dawn, work until dusk, collapse into bed, repeat. The physical labor was exhausting but somehow satisfying. She learned quickly and worked hard, determined not to give anyone reason to complain. Gabriel was a constant, quiet presence. He seemed to be everywhere at once, fixing fences, checking on the cattle, reviewing paperwork in the office. He rarely spoke directly to Anna Julia after that first day, but sometimes she would look up from her work to find his eyes on her, thoughtful and assessing. One evening, about a week after her arrival, Anna Julia stayed late in the stables. One of the horses, a gentle mare named Estrella, had seemed off her feed that day, and Anna Julia wanted to check on her once more before turning in. As she stroked the horse's neck, she began to sing softly, an old lullaby her mother used to sing to her. She didn't realize she had an audience until she turned to leave and found Gabriel leaning against the stable door. "She likes your voice," he said, nodding toward Estrella. "So do I." Anna Julia felt her face grow hot. "I didn't know anyone was there. You sing often." She shook her head. "Not really. Not anymore." "Why not?" The question was simple, but Anna Julia found herself struggling to answer. "I guess people used to tell me to be quiet." Something flashed in Gabriel's eyes. Brief hardness that wasn't directed at her. Those people were wrong. Before she could respond, they heard Miguel calling from outside. Boss, phone call from the buyers in Santa Cruz. Gabriel straightened up. Sing to her again tomorrow, he said, then walked away to take his call. The next morning, Ana Julia found a small radio placed on the shelf in the stable near Estrella's stall. There was no note, no explanation, but she knew who had left it there. 2 weeks into her stay, a fierce storm hit the ranch. Rain hammered down and wind howled around the cabins. Ana Julia discovered that her door wouldn't stay shut. The lock was broken, and the wind kept blowing it open, letting rain pour in. She tried to jam a chair against it, but the wind was too strong. Soaking wet and frustrated, she was about to give up and ask to sleep in the main house when a knock came at the doorframe. Gabriel stood there, rain dripping from his hat, toolbox in hand. Martha said, "Your lock's broken." "Yes, I can't get it." Ana Julia began, but he was already examining the door, pulling out tools. "Easy fix," he said. "Hand me that flashlight." She watched as he worked efficiently, replacing the old lock with a new one. His hands were strong and capable, moving with practiced ease. "There," he said finally, testing the door. "That'll hold against anything short of a hurricane." "Thank you," Ana Julia said. "You didn't have to come out in this weather." Gabriel looked at her, his expression unreadable in the dim light. "Everyone deserves to feel safe," he said simply. As he turned to leave, Ana Julia noticed he was limping slightly. "You're hurt," she said. He shrugged. "Old injury, axe up in the rain." "Let me make you some coffee before you go back out there," she offered impulsively. "To warm up." Gabriel hesitated, then nodded. "That'd be nice." They sat at her small table, steam rising from their mugs, listening to the rain. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable. "Why did you say that?" Ana Julia finally asked. "That first day, about me being worth more than the farm?" Gabriel took a sip of his coffee before answering. "Because it's true and because you needed to hear it. You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "I know you work twice as hard as you need to. I know you check on Estrella even when it's not your job. I know you help Martha with the dishes without being asked." He met her eyes. "I know what it's like to have people tell you you're not enough, until you start believing it yourself." Ana Julia looked down at her mug. "My father says I'm a waste of time, that I'll never amount to anything." "Your father is wrong," Gabriel said, his voice gentle but firm. When he left a few minutes later, Ana Julia stood in the doorway, watching him walk back through the rain to the main house. For the first time in years, the voice in her head, the one that always told her she wasn't good enough, was quiet. The next morning, she found a folded note pushed under her door. Inside was a single line of Gabriel's neat handwriting. "You're doing better than you think." She tucked the note into her pocket, a small warmth spreading through her chest. Days turned into weeks, and Ana Julia began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time, a sense of belonging. The other workers had accepted her as one of their own. Martha treated her like a daughter, always making sure she ate enough. Even Teresa had warmed up, teaching her shortcuts for the daily chores. And then there was Gabriel. He still didn't talk much, but she'd noticed he found reasons to be wherever she was working. He'd bring her fresh water on hot days, ask her opinion on which feed the horses preferred, or simply work alongside her in comfortable silence. One night, Martha came knocking urgently at Ana Julia's door. "Estrella's foaling, and it's not going well," she said. "Gabriel's with her, but he needs help, and Miguel's in town. Can you come?" Ana Julia ran to the stables, where she found Gabriel kneeling beside the laboring mare. His face was tense with worry. "The foal's positioned wrong," he explained quickly. "I need to turn it, but I need someone to keep Estrella calm." For the next 2 hours they worked together in the dim stable. Ana Julia stroked Estrella's neck, singing softly to her, while Gabriel fought to save the mare and her foal. His hands were gentle despite their strength, his voice a constant soothing murmur of encouragement to the struggling horse. Finally, with one last push, the foal slid into the world. Gabriel quickly cleared its airways, and the little creature took its first breath. "It's a filly," he said, exhaustion and joy mingling in his voice. "They're both going to be fine." Ana Julia realized she was crying, tears of relief and something else she couldn't quite name. She and Gabriel were covered in mud and straw, both trembling with exhaustion. Gabriel reached over and gently wiped a smudge of dirt from her cheek. His hand lingered there, warm against her skin. "You have no idea how strong you are," he said softly. "But I see it, and I'll keep seeing it until you do too." In that moment, something shifted between them, a recognition, an understanding. Ana Julia felt herself beginning to believe what he saw in her, just a little. They stayed with the mare and her foal until dawn, sitting side by side in the straw, watching the new life they'd helped bring into the world. When the first rays of sunlight filtered through the stable windows, Gabriel helped Ana Julia to her feet. "Thank you," he said. "I couldn't have done it without you." For the first time since she'd met him, Gabriel smiled fully, a smile that transformed his face and reached all the way to his eyes. Ana Julia found herself smiling back, a warm feeling spreading through her chest. Neither of them noticed Martha watching from the stable door, a knowing look in her eyes. Later that day, as Ana Julia helped clean the tack room, Teresa joined. "Her Samd... So," Teresa said casually. "You and the boss, huh?" Ana Julia nearly dropped the saddle she was polishing. "What? No, we just... the foal..." Teresa laughed. "Honey, I've worked here 5 years. I've never seen Gabriel Mello look at anyone the way he looks at you." "You're imagining things," Ana Julia insisted, her cheeks burning. "Maybe," Teresa conceded. "But for what it's worth, I think you'd be good for him. Man's been alone too long." That night, Ana Julia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Gabriel, his quiet strength, his unexpected kindness, the way his rare smile transformed his face. Was Teresa right? And even if she was, what did it matter? In 2 more weeks, Ana Julia's month would be up. She would take her pay and move on just as she'd planned. But as she finally drifted off to sleep, she realized that for the first time in her life, she didn't want to run away. The next morning, she found Gabriel fixing a fence near her cabin. He looked up as she approached. "Morning," he said. "Sleep well?" "Not really," she admitted. Gabriel set down his tools. "Something wrong?" Ana Julia took a deep breath. "My month is almost up." "I know." His face gave nothing away. "I was thinking, maybe I could stay longer? If you need the help, I mean." Something flickered in Gabriel's eyes, a brief light that warmed her from the inside out. "I think that could be arranged," he said quietly. And in that moment, Ana Julia felt something she'd almost forgotten existed: hope. The weeks that followed were the happiest Ana Julia could remember. As summer turned to early fall, the ranch settled into a different rhythm. The days grew shorter, the mornings crisper. Gabriel extended her contract indefinitely, and Ana Julia found herself smiling more often than not. "How you look different," Martha commented one morning as they prepared breakfast together. "There's a light in your eyes that wasn't there before." Ana Julia blushed. "I just like it here." Martha gave her a knowing look. "Mm-hmm. And I bet the view has something to do with it, especially when that view is about 6'2" with dark eyes." "Martha!" Ana Julia protested, but she couldn't help laughing. The truth was, things between her and Gabriel had shifted into something both wonderful and terrifying. They hadn't spoken directly about their feelings, but they'd fallen into a comfortable routine. Most evenings after the day's work was done, they would sit on the porch of the main house, sometimes talking, sometimes just watching the sun set together. Gabriel had begun to open up to her, sharing stories about his childhood on the ranch, about his father who had taught him everything he knew, and his mother who had died when he was just 14. "She loved music," he told Ana Julia one evening. "Always singing like you do. That's why I left you the radio. Reminded me of her." Ana Julia had shared some of her own past too, how her mother had died when she was in high school, how her father had grown bitter and critical, how she'd bounced from one disappointing job to another, always feeling like she was falling short. "You never fell short," Gabriel had said quietly. "You just never had anyone who saw your true worth." One crisp October morning, Gabriel found Ana Julia in the stables, checking on Estrella and her growing foal, now a gangly, playful thing they'd named Luz, Light. "Got a job for you today," he said, leaning against the stall door. "Different from your usual." Ana Julia looked up curious. What kind of job? Need someone to drive into town with me. The Fall Festival Committee wants Rancho Esperanza to participate this year. Thought, you might have some ideas. She hesitated. Me, but I've only been here a few months. You've got a good eye for what people like, Gabriel said simply, and I could use the company. The drive into town was pleasant. The truck's windows rolled down to let in the crisp autumn air. They talked easily about the ranch, the upcoming winter preparations, the new fillies' progress. As they pulled into the small town of Vista Valley, Ana Julia felt a knot form in her stomach. This was where she'd worked at the diner, where she'd been humiliated. She hadn't been back since coming. To the ranch, Gabriel seemed to sense her tension. Something wrong? I used to work here, she admitted. At the diner, it didn't end well. Gabriel's hands tightened slightly on the steering wheel, but his voice remained calm. We don't have to eat there. The meeting with the festival committee went better than Ana Julia expected. They wanted local businesses and farms to set up booths, and Gabriel agreed that Rancho Esperanza would participate. To her surprise, he suggested they showcase not just their livestock, but also Ana Julia's homemade preserves, the jams and jellies she'd been making in her spare time from the ranch's fruit trees. People should taste these, he said. Best I've ever had. The committee members seemed impressed, and Ana Julia felt a small glow of pride. She'd never thought of her cooking as anything special. As they left the town hall, Gabriel asked, Hungry? Ana Julia nodded, though her stomach still clenched at the thought of running into anyone from the diner. There's a new place at the edge of town, Gabriel said, as if reading her mind. Mexican food, heard it's good. The restaurant was small, but welcoming, with bright colors and delicious smells. They settled into a corner booth, and for the first time, it felt almost like a date. Outside the context of the ranch, sitting across from Gabriel in a public place, Ana Julia felt a new kind of nervousness. Gabriel seemed different too, less the boss, more just a man enjoying a meal with a woman he cared about. He smiled more easily here, his usual reserve softening around the edges. Thank you, Ana Julia said as they waited for their food. For suggesting my preserves for the festival, you didn't have to do that. I didn't suggest them to be nice, Gabriel replied. I suggested them because they're good, really good. You have a talent, Ana. Before she could respond, a sharp voice interrupted them. Well, look who it is. Ana Julia's heart sank as she turned to see Richard Davis, her former boss from the diner, standing by their table. He was a heavy-set man with small, mean eyes and a perpetual frown. Didn't expect to see you still in the area, Richard continued, his voice carrying. Figured you'd have moved on to mess up someone else's business by now. Ana Julia felt her face burn with humiliation. She couldn't look at Gabriel. Excuse me? Gabriel's voice was quiet, but had an edge she'd never heard before. Richard glanced at Gabriel, taking in his rancher's build and the obvious quality of his clothes. You her new boss? He asked. Word of advice. Don't let her near anything valuable. Girl's got butterfingers and an empty head. Gabriel stood up slowly. He wasn't. A tall man, but something in his posture made him seem larger. That girl is the hardest worker on my ranch and worth 10 of you. Now I suggest you walk away before I forget my manners. Richard blinked, clearly not expecting this response. He looked from Gabriel to Ana Julia, then shrugged. Your funeral, he muttered and walked away. Gabriel sat back down, his face tight with anger. Sorry about that, he said to Ana Julia. Should have hit him. Despite her embarrassment, Ana Julia felt a warm glow at Gabriel's defense of her. Thank you, she said softly. But he's right. I did mess up at the diner, dropped an entire tray of food on an important customer. And that makes you worthless? Gabriel asked, his eyes intent on hers. One mistake? It wasn't just one. Ana, Gabriel interrupted gently. Everyone drops things, everyone makes mistakes. A decent boss helps you learn from them, not shames you for them. Their food arrived, momentarily distracting them from the conversation. As they ate, Ana Julia gradually relaxed again, the encounter with Richard fading in importance next to Gabriel's unwavering support. On the drive back to the ranch, Gabriel was quieter than usual. As they turned onto the long drive leading to the property, He finally spoke. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Ana Julia replied. "Why do you believe people like that? People who tear you down?" The question caught her off guard. I don't know. I guess because they've always been there, my father, teachers, bosses. After a while, you start to think they must be right." Gabriel pulled the truck to a stop in front of the main house, but made no move to get out. "They're not right," he said, turning to look at her, "and I'll keep telling you that until you believe it." For a moment, Ana Julia thought he might lean over and kiss her. Her heart raced at the possibility, but Gabriel simply squeezed her hand once, then got out of the truck. That night, Ana Julia couldn't sleep. Her mind kept replaying the day's events, Gabriel defending her, the almost moment in the truck. She felt like she was standing on the edge of something wonderful and terrifying all at once. The next few weeks were busy with preparations for the fall festival. Ana Julia threw herself into making preserves, experimenting with different combinations of fruits and spices. Gabriel built a simple but attractive booth for the ranch's display, and Martha helped sew bright tablecloths to decorate it. One evening, as Ana Julia was finishing up a batch of apple butter in the main house kitchen, Gabriel came in with a small package. "Got something for you," he said, placing it on the counter beside her. Ana Julia wiped her hands on her apron and opened the package. Inside was a set of professionally printed labels for her preserves. Rancho Esperanza homemade preserves. She had elegant lettering with space to write the flavor and date. "Gabriel," she breathed, running her finger over the embossed design. "These are beautiful. Thought it would make your jams look more professional for the festival," he said with a small shrug. "If you like them, we could order more." "I love them," Ana Julia said, tears pricking at her eyes. It wasn't just the labels. It was what they represented. Gabriel believed in her enough to invest in this, to see it as more than just a hobby. Their eyes met, and the kitchen suddenly seemed very quiet. Gabriel took a step closer to her. "Ana," he began, his voice low. The back door banged open and Miguel burst in. "Boss, the new bull broke through the fence again. He's heading for the west pasture where the pregnant cows are." The moment shattered. Gabriel was instantly all business. "Get the horses ready. Ana, can you finish up here?" And he was gone, leaving Ana Julia with her beautiful new labels and a heart full of unspoken words. The day of the fall festival dawned bright and clear. Ana Julia woke early, nervous but excited. She'd worked so hard on her preserves, and now strangers would be tasting them, judging them. Martha helped her load everything into Gabriel's truck. "Stop worrying," the older woman said kindly. "They're going to love your jams as much as we." "Di, what if they don't?" Ana Julia fretted. "Then they don't," Martha said practically. "World won't end. But they will, mark my words." The festival was already bustling when they arrived. Gabriel, Miguel and Teresa had come earlier to set up the booth and bring some of the gentler livestock for a small petting area. Ana Julia's preserves were arranged beautifully on one side, small tasting plates and crackers set out invitingly. As the day progressed, Ana Julia's nervousness gave way to delight. People loved her preserves. Many bought multiple jars and several asked if she sold them regularly in town. "You should," Gabriel said, appearing beside her during a lull. "Set up a regular business. These are selling faster than the beef jerky. And that's saying something." Ana Julia blushed with pleasure. "Maybe I will." As the afternoon wore on, Ana Julia noticed a well-dressed woman repeatedly coming back to their booth. She wasn't interested in the preserves, but kept asking Gabriel detailed questions about the ranch. There was something familiar about her, but Ana Julia couldn't place it. Finally, during a break when Miguel took over the booth, Ana Julia asked Gabriel, "Who is that woman? The one in the blue dress?" A shadow crossed Gabriel's face. "Elena Vasquez. Her father owns the biggest ranch in the county. She's been trying to convince me to sell to them for years." "Would you?" Ana Julia asked, surprised. "Sell the ranch?" Gabriel's answer was immediate and firm. "Never. This land is more than just property to me. It's my heritage, my future." He looked at her, something unspoken in his eyes. "It's home." Later, as the festival was winding down, Elena approached again. This time, she spoke directly to Ana Julia. "Your preserves are quite good," she said, her tone suggesting surprise. "You have talent. Thank you, Ana Julia replied, uncertain. Elena turned to Gabriel. You should bring her to the Ranchers Association dinner next week. It would be nice to have some new faces. After she walked away, Ana Julia looked questioningly at Gabriel. It's an annual thing, he explained. All the local ranchers get together, talk business, pretend to like each other. He hesitated. Would you want to go with me? The way he asked, slightly uncertain, as if preparing for rejection, made Ana Julia's heart turn over. This strong, confident man who never doubted himself in business matters seemed almost shy with her. I'd love to, she said softly. The week leading up to the dinner was filled with nervous anticipation for Ana Julia. She had nothing suitable to wear to such an event and confided this worry to Martha. Let me see what I can do, the housekeeper said mysteriously. 2 days later, Martha presented Ana Julia with a beautiful emerald green dress. It was my daughter's, she explained. She left it behind when she moved to California. Never did come back for it, and it's just your size. The dress was simple but elegant, with a modest neckline and a skirt that flared gently from the waist. When Ana Julia tried it on, she hardly recognized herself in the small mirror of her cabin bathroom. The night of the dinner, Gabriel picked her up in his truck, dressed in what she assumed was his best. Clean dark jeans, a crisp white shirt, and a well-cut jacket. He stopped short when she opened the door, his eyes widening slightly. You look beautiful, he said simply. The dinner was held at the Vista Valley Country Club, a place Ana Julia had seen from afar but never imagined entering. The ballroom was decorated elegantly, with tables arranged around a small dance floor. Ana Julia recognized many of the attendees from town, including several who had bought her preserves at the festival. Elena Vasquez made her way to their table almost immediately, looking stunning in a designer dress that probably cost more than Ana Julia earned in 6 months. Gabriel, so glad you could make it, she said, her hand lingering on his arm. And Ana, lovely to see you again. Throughout dinner, Ana Julia couldn't help noticing how Elena maneuvered to sit next to Gabriel, how she laughed at his rare jokes, how she clearly knew details about his life and business that spoke of a long acquaintance. They grew up together, Teresa whispered to Ana Julia, when Gabriel was distracted talking to another rancher. Elena always had her eye on him, and on Rancho Esperanza. Word is, her father wants that land badly. Their ranch surrounds it on 3 sides. Were they ever? Ana Julia couldn't bring herself to finish the question. Teresa shook her head. Not for lack of trying on her part. But Gabriel never showed interest. Until now, he never brought anyone to these functions. She gave Ana Julia a meaningful look. After dinner, the small band began to play and couples moved to the dance floor. Ana Julia watched, content to sit and observe, when Gabriel appeared beside her chair. Dance with me? He asked, extending his hand. Ana Julia hesitated. I'm not very good at it. A small smile played at the corners of his mouth. Neither am I. We can be bad at it together. The song was slow, and Gabriel held her carefully as if she were something precious. Ana Julia gradually relaxed into his arms, feeling the steady beat of his heart where her cheek rested against his chest. Thank you for coming tonight, Gabriel said softly. I know this isn't really your thing. I'm glad I came, she replied honestly. They swayed together in comfortable silence until Elena cut in, tapping Ana Julia's shoulder. Mind if I steal him for a moment? Business talk, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Ana Julia stepped back, nodding politely, though her heart sank as she watched Gabriel and Elena move gracefully across the floor. They looked right together, both from prominent local families, both successful, both beautiful, in a way that spoke of old money and good breeding. What was she doing here? She was just a girl who couldn't even hold down a job at a diner. As these thoughts began to overwhelm her, Ana Julia slipped out onto the terrace for some air. The night was cool but not cold, stars scattered like diamonds across the black velvet sky. Hiding out here? A voice asked, and she turned to see Richard Davis, her former boss, a drink in his hand. Just getting some air, she replied stiffly, turning to go back inside. Wait, Richard said, his tone surprisingly civil. I wanted to apologize for the The day I was out of line. Anna Julia stopped, suspicious. Why the change of heart? Richard shrugged. Heard your preserves were the hit of the festival, and that Mello's thinking of backing you for a proper business. He raised his glass slightly. I can recognize when I've misjudged someone. Before Anna Julia could respond, the terrace door opened again, and Gabriel stepped out. His eyes moved from Anna Julia to Richard, narrowing slightly. Everything okay out here? He asked. Fine, Anna Julia assured him. Mr. Davis was just leaving. Richard nodded, gave a small mock salute with his glass, and headed back inside. Gabriel came to stand beside Anna Julia at the terrace railing. What did he want? To apologize, surprisingly enough, she said. He mentioned something about you backing me for a business. With the preserves. Gabriel looked slightly embarrassed. I was going to talk to you about that. Several people at the festival asked if your preserves were available in stores. I thought maybe, if you were interested, we could look into setting something up. Small scale at first. See how it goes. Anna Julia stared at him. You really think they're that good? I know they are, Gabriel said simply. You are. The conviction in his voice made her throat tight with emotion. Here was someone who believed in her, who saw possibilities for her that she'd never dared imagine for herself. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. Gabriel turned to face her fully, his eyes serious in the dim light. Anna, there's something I need to tell you. The terrace door opened once more and Eleanor stepped out. There you are, Gabriel. They're about to announce the association's new president. You should be inside. Gabriel's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, but he nodded. We'll be right there. Elena hesitated, looking between them, then went back inside. Gabriel turned back to Anna Julia with a sigh. I'm sorry, it's always like this. Interruptions, business, demands. It's okay, Anna Julia said, though disappointment coursed through her. It's important. You should go. Gabriel surprised her by taking her hand. It can wait 5 minutes, he said firmly. Anna, what I was trying to say is... A loud cheer erupted from inside, followed by applause. Gabriel closed his eyes briefly, frustration evident on his face. They just announced it. Guess I'm the new president. That's wonderful. Anna Julia exclaimed. You should go in, accept properly. Gabriel nodded reluctantly. We'll talk later, he promised, squeezing her hand before heading back inside. Anna Julia stayed on the terrace a moment longer, trying to collect her thoughts. What had Gabriel been about to say? And why did it seem so important? As she turned to go back inside, she nearly collided with Elena, who had apparently returned to the terrace unnoticed. He cares for you, Elena said bluntly. I can see it. Anna Julia didn't know how to respond. But you should know something, Elena continued. Gabriel Mello isn't just a rancher. His land sits on what could be the most valuable water rights in the county. My father has offered him millions, but he won't sell. She paused, her eyes calculating. A man like that needs a partner who understands business, who comes from his world, not someone who's just passing through. The words stung, hitting directly at Anna Julia's deepest insecurities. I'm not just passing through, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Elena smiled sympathetically. Maybe not intentionally, but Gabriel has roots here generations deep. What do you have? With that, she turned and went back inside, leaving Anna Julia alone with thoughts that suddenly seemed much darker than the night around her. By the time she rejoined the party, Gabriel was surrounded by well-wishers, his new position clearly popular among the ranchers. Anna Julia hung back, Elena's words echoing in her mind. What did she have to offer a man like Gabriel Mello? A few jars of homemade jam and a lifetime of failures? Later, as they drove back to the ranch in silence, Gabriel finally spoke. You're quiet. Did something happen? Anna Julia considered telling him about her conversation with Eleanor, but decided against it. Just tired, she said. It was a long day. Gabriel glanced at her, clearly not convinced but not pushing. About what I wanted to tell you. Can it wait until tomorrow? Anna Julia interrupted. I really am tired. A flicker of disappointment crossed Gabriel's face, but he nodded. Of course. Tomorrow. But as Anna Julia lay in bed that night, sleep wouldn't come. Helena's words kept repeating in her mind, joined by echoes of her father's criticisms and her own self-doubts. What right did she have to dream of a future with someone like Gabriel? She was nobody, with nothing to offer. Sooner or later, he would realize that, and then where would she be? Better to guard her heart now, she decided, than to have it broken later. The next morning, Anna Julia rose early and went about her chores mechanically, avoiding the main house where she knew Gabriel would be having breakfast, but avoidance proved impossible on a ranch the size of Rancho Esperanza. By mid-morning, Gabriel found her in the orchard, collecting the last of the season's apples. "Anna," he called, approaching her with determination in his stride. "We need to talk." Anna Julia's heart pounded as Gabriel approached her in the orchard. She wasn't ready for this conversation, wasn't ready to face the growing feelings between them that Elena's words had made seem so impossible. "I've been looking for you all morning," Gabriel said, stopping a few feet away from her. "You've been avoiding me." It wasn't a question. Anna Julia looked down at the basket of apples in her hands. "I've been busy." "Anna," Gabriel's voice softened. "What happened last night? You were different on the drive home." She could feel his eyes on her, patient and concerned. Part of her wanted to tell him everything, about Elena's warnings, about her own fears, but another part, the part that had been hurt so many times before, held her back. "It's nothing," she said finally. "I just realized some things, that's all." "What things?" Gabriel pressed. Anna Julia set down her basket and forced herself to meet his eyes. "You're the new president of the Ranchers Association. Your family has owned this land for generations. I'm just temporary help." Gabriel's expression hardened. "Who told you that? Elena?" Anna Julia's silence was answer enough. "What exactly did she say to you?" he asked, his voice tight with controlled anger. "It doesn't matter what she said," Anna Julia replied. "What matters is that she's right. I don't belong in your world, Gabriel. I'm not from here. I don't know anything about water rights or association politics or—" "Stop," Gabriel interrupted. "Just stop. Is that what you think I care about? Status? Politics?" He took a step closer. "Anna, the only reason I even went to that dinner was because you agreed to come with me. I've skipped it the last 3 years. This caught her off guard." "But the presidency was a surprise to me too," he said. "I didn't campaign for it. I don't even want it, but that's not important right now." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she'd come to recognize as a sign of frustration. "What I wanted to tell you last night before we kept getting interrupted was that I—" "Gabriel!" Miguel's voice called from the direction of the main house. "Phone call. It's important." Gabriel closed his eyes briefly, clearly fighting for patience. "Tell them I'll call back," he shouted, not taking his eyes off Anna Julia. "It's the bank," Miguel called back. "About the loan extension." A conflict played across Gabriel's face. Anna Julia knew how important the loan was. He'd been working for months to secure better terms for the ranch's operating expenses. "Go," she said softly. "We can talk later." Gabriel hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. "This isn't over," he said, his eyes intense. "We're going to finish this conversation." As he walked away, Anna Julia picked up her basket of apples and headed toward the kitchen. Her mind was a swirl of confusion. What had Gabriel been about to say? And why did part of her both long to hear it and fear it at the same time? In the kitchen, Martha was preparing lunch. She looked up as Anna Julia entered with the apples. "There you are," she said, "just in time to help with the pies for tonight's dinner." Anna Julia welcomed the distraction. As they worked side by side, peeling and slicing apples, Martha's quiet presence was comforting. "Something on your mind?" the older woman asked after a while. Anna Julia hesitated, then decided to confide in Martha. "I met Elena Vasquez last night," she said. "She made it clear that I don't belong here. That I'm not right for Gabriel." Martha snorted. "Elena Vasquez has been trying to get her hooks into Gabriel since they were teenagers. Never worked then, won't work now." "But she comes from his world," Anna Julia insisted. "She understands the business, the politics." Martha set down her knife and turned to face Anna Julia directly. "Now you listen to me. I've known Gabriel Mello since he was born. That boy doesn't give a fig about worlds or status or any of that nonsense. What he cares about is what's real. She tapped Ana Julia's chest, right over her heart. And you, my dear, are the realest thing that's happened to him in a very long time. Tears pricked at Ana Julia's eyes. I'm scared, Martha. I've never felt like this before, and I'm afraid of messing it up. It's what I do. Martha's expression softened. Oh, honey, love is always scary. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be worth much, would it? The word love hung in the air between them. Was that what this was? Ana Julia had never been in love before, had never allowed herself to be that vulnerable. The realization that she might love Gabriel Mello terrified her. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Gabriel was tied up with bank calls and paperwork, and Ana Julia deliberately kept herself busy with chores. By dinner time, they still hadn't had a chance to continue their conversation. The ranch hands all ate together in the main house, as they did most evenings. Gabriel sat at the head of the table, quieter than usual, his eyes often finding Ana Julia's across the table. The tension between them was palpable, though no one mentioned it. After dinner, as Ana Julia was helping Martha clear the dishes, Gabriel approached her. "Take a walk with me?" he asked simply. Ana Julia nodded, drying her hands on a towel. Martha shooed them both away. "Go on, I can finish up here." Outside, the night was clear and cool, the stars brilliant overhead. They walked in silence toward the stables where the horses nickered softly in greeting. Gabriel led her to a small bench near the paddock fence. "My father built this bench," he said as they sat down. "He used to sit here in the evenings and watch the horses. Said it helped him think." Ana Julia waited, sensing Gabriel had more to say. "He left me this ranch when he died," Gabriel continued, "but it was in bad shape. Debts piling up, equipment failing, fences falling down." He looked out over the darkened fields. "Everyone told me to sell, said I couldn't save it on my own. But you did," Ana Julia said softly. Gabriel nodded. "Not because I was smarter or stronger than anyone else, because I cared more. This land, these animals, they're part of me. I couldn't give up on them." He turned to look at her, his eyes serious in the moonlight. "The thing is, Ana, for years that's all I've had room for. The ranch consumed everything, my time, my energy, my thoughts. There wasn't space for anything else." He paused. Anyone else? Ana Julia's heart beat faster as Gabriel continued. "Then you showed up. And suddenly, for the first time since my father died, I found myself thinking about something besides this ranch." His voice grew softer. "Someone besides this ranch." Ana Julia could hardly breathe. "Gabriel, let me finish," he said gently. "What I've been trying to tell you, what keeps getting interrupted, is that I'm falling in love with you, Ana Julia. I think I started falling the moment I saw you gathering up that spilled feed, looking like you expected the world to come crashing down on you for one simple mistake." The words hung in the air between them, honest and vulnerable. Ana Julia felt tears welling in her eyes. "You don't have to say anything back," Gabriel added quickly. "I know this might be too fast, too much. I just needed you to know, especially after whatever Elena said to you last night. I don't care about backgrounds or status or any of that. I care about you, just you." Ana Julia's mind raced. She wanted to tell him she felt the same way, that she was falling in love with him too, but the words stuck in her throat. Years of doubt and self-criticism held her back. Before she could find her voice, the sound of an approaching vehicle caught their attention. Headlights swept across the ranch yard as a sleek car pulled up in front of the main house. Gabriel frowned. Who could that be at this hour? They both stood and walked back toward the house. As they got closer, Ana Julia could make out a woman stepping out of the car, Elena Vasquez. Gabriel's steps slowed, his expression darkening. "What is she doing? Here?" Elena spotted them and waved, her smile bright in the porch light. "Gabriel, I'm so glad I caught you. I have the most exciting news." Ana Julia felt herself withdrawing, shrinking back into the shadows. "I should go," she whispered. Gabriel caught her arm. "No, stay, please." But Elena was already hurrying toward them, a folder in her hand. "The water rights deal," she said breathlessly. "Daddy convinced the county board to approve it. With this agreement, Your ranch's water access will be protected for the next 50 years. And the payment, she named a figure that made Ana Julia's eyes widen, will be deposited as soon as you sign. Gabriel stared at the folder Elena held out to him. Natalia, I've told your father a dozen times, I'm not selling my water rights. But this is different, Elena insisted. It's not selling, it's a partnership. Rancho Esperanza would still have all the water it needs. We'd just have access to the surplus for the new development project. She glanced at Ana Julia dismissively. It's a business decision, Gabriel, a smart one. The answer is still no, Gabriel said firmly. My father never sold to your family, and neither will I. Elena's smile faltered. At least look at the proposal. The terms are very generous. I don't need to look at it, Gabriel replied. This ranch stays whole, land, cattle, and water. Elena's expression hardened. You're making a mistake, she said coldly. Sentiment is a luxury you can't afford. The bank won't extend your loan forever. Ana Julia saw Gabriel stiffen. How do you know about my bank situation? Elena shrugged. This is a small community, Gabriel. People talk. Or people snoop, Gabriel countered. Either way, my financial arrangements are my business. Not yours, not your father's. Elena's eyes narrowed. Is she the reason you're being so stubborn? She asked, nodding toward Ana Julia. She's got you thinking with your heart instead of your head. That's enough, Gabriel said, his voice dangerously quiet. It's time for you to leave, Elena. Elena looked between them, her expression calculating. Fine. But the offer won't stay. Open forever. Think about it, Gabriel. Think about what's best for Rancho Esperanza's future. With that, she turned and walked back to her car. As she drove away, Gabriel let out a long breath. I'm sorry you had to see that, he said to Ana. Julia, is it true, she asked, about the bank loan? Gabriel hesitated, then nodded. The extension is still being negotiated. It's nothing to worry about. I've been in tighter spots before. But Ana Julia could see the worry in his eyes. How bad is it? Gabriel ran a hand through his hair. Bad. Enough, the drought last year hit us hard. Cattle prices are down, but we'll manage, we always do. Ana Julia thought about the figure Elena had mentioned. Enough money to solve all of Rancho Esperanza's problems, and then some. All because Gabriel wouldn't sell part of his water rights, part of his heritage. What if Elena's right? She asked, quietly. What if it is a good business decision? Gabriel looked at her, surprised. You think I should take their offer? I don't know, Ana Julia admitted. I just don't want to be the reason you turn down something that could help the ranch. Understanding dawned in Gabriel's eyes. Ana, you're not the reason. I've been turning down Vasquez offers for years. This land, all of it, is meant to stay together. He took her hand gently. Don't let Elena get in your head. That's what she wants. Ana Julia nodded, but doubt still lingered. What if she was clouding Gabriel's judgment? What if her presence was making things harder for him, not better? Gabriel seemed to sense her thoughts. Let's not let Elena ruin our evening, he said. We were in the middle of an important conversation, but the moment had been broken. Ana Julia pulled her hand away. It's getting late, she said. Maybe we should both get some rest. Think things through. Disappointment flickered across Gabriel's face, but he nodded. If that's what you want. I just need some time, Ana Julia said, not meeting his eyes. Take all the time you need, Gabriel replied softly. I'm not going anywhere. That night, Ana Julia barely slept. Gabriel's words, I'm falling in love with you, played over. And over in her mind, alongside Elena's warnings and her own doubts. By morning, she was exhausted and no closer to knowing what to do. She went through her chores mechanically, avoiding Gabriel as much as possible. He respected her request for space, though she often felt his eyes on her from across the ranch yard. 3 days passed in this limbo. The tension was becoming unbearable, but Ana Julia still couldn't bring herself to face the conversation they needed to have. Every time she thought about telling Gabriel she loved him too, fear paralyzed her. What if it didn't work out? What if she wasn't enough? What if loving her cost him his ranch? On the 4th day, Martha cornered her in the laundry room. This has gone on long enough, the older woman said firmly. You're both miserable. Talk to the man. It's complicated. Ana Julia protested. Love always is, Martha replied, but that doesn't mean you run from it. Before Ana Julia could respond, Teresa burst into the room, her face flushed with excitement. Anna, there you are, there's someone here to see you. Ana Julia frowned. Me? Who would be visiting me? Says he's your cousin, Teresa replied. Carlos. Something, he's waiting in the main house. Ana Julia felt a jolt of surprise. Carlos was her father's nephew, a successful businessman she hadn't seen in years. What could he possibly want with her? In the main house living room, Carlos stood examining the family photos on the mantel. He turned as Ana Julia entered, a broad smile on his face. Prima, he exclaimed, using the Portuguese word for female, cousin. It's been too long. Ana Julia accepted his hug awkwardly. Carlos, what are you doing here? How did you find me? Your father mentioned you were working on a ranch in this area, Carlos explained. It took some asking around, but here I am. He looked her up and down, taking in her work clothes and dusty boots. Though I must say I didn't expect to find you like this. Ana Julia bristled slightly. Like what? A ranch hand, Carlos said, as if it were obvious. You're a freitas. We're not meant for manual labor. Ana Julia bit back a retort. Carlos had always been her father's favorite, held up as an example of what Ana Julia should aspire to be. What do you want, Carlos? She asked directly. Always straight to the point, he chuckled. Fine, I'm here to offer you a job. This was the last thing Ana Julia had expected. A job? With your company? Carlos nodded. Administrative assistant. To the regional manager, that's me, office in Santa Cruz, good salary, benefits, normal working hours. He glanced around dismissively. Better than mucking out stables, I'd say. Ana Julia was speechless. Before she could respond, Gabriel appeared. In the doorway. Everything okay? He asked, his eyes moving between Ana Julia and Carlos. Fine, Ana Julia replied quickly. Gabriel, this is my cousin Carlos. Carlos, this is Gabriel Melo, the owner of Rancho Esperanza. The men shook hands, sizing each. Other up. Nice place you have here, Carlos said, his tone suggesting the opposite. Thank you, Gabriel replied coolly. Ana Julia is an important part of our operation. Carlos smiled thinly. Yes, well, that's what I've come to discuss. I'm offering my cousin a real job in the city. Gabriel's face remained impassive, but Ana Julia saw his jaw tighten. I see, he said. That's between you and Ana, then. Excuse me. He turned and left the room, his back straight and stiff. Ana Julia wanted to go after him to explain, but Carlos was already continuing. It's the perfect opportunity, Ana, he was saying. Your father is thrilled. He says it's your chance to finally prove yourself to the family. Those words hit her like a physical blow. Prove herself to the family? Wasn't that what she'd always wanted? To show her father she wasn't a failure. I need time to think about it, she managed to say. Carlos frowned. What's there to think about? It's a no-brainer. I have commitments. Here, Ana Julia replied. I can't just leave without notice. Fine, Carlos sighed. Take a few days, but don't wait too long. An opportunity like this won't come around again. He pulled a business card from his pocket and handed it to her. Call me when you decide. But Ana, for once in your life, don't mess this up. After Carlos left, Ana Julia sat alone in the living room, the business card clutched in her hand. A real job, a chance to prove herself to her family. It was everything she'd thought she wanted when she first arrived at Rancho Esperanza. So why did the thought of leaving fill her with such dread? She found Gabriel in the barn, mending a saddle with focused intensity. He didn't look up when she entered. That was my cousin, she said unnecessarily. He offered me a job in Santa Cruz. Gabriel's hands stilled for a moment, then resumed their work. Are you going to take it? I don't know, Ana Julia replied, honestly. It would mean a lot to my father if I did. Gabriel finally looked up, his eyes guarded. And what would it mean to you? Ana Julia hesitated. A chance to start over, to be something other than a failure in my family's eyes. You're not a failure, Gabriel said, his voice tight with emotion. You never were, not to me. I know, Ana Julia whispered. That's what makes this so hard. Gabriel set the saddle aside and stood. What do you want, Ana? Not what your father. Wants not what Carlos wants, not even what I want. What do you want? It was such a simple question, but Ana Julia realized no one had ever really asked her that before. What did she want? She wanted to stay at Rancho Esperanza. She wanted to wake up every morning to the sound of the roosters and the smell of Martha's coffee. She wanted to watch Luz grow from a wobbly foal into a strong, beautiful horse. She wanted to develop her preserves into a real business. Most of all, she wanted Gabriel. Wanted to see his rare smile, to hear his quiet voice, to feel the safety and belonging she'd found in his arms during their one dance. But wanting something and deserving it were two different things. I don't know yet, she finally answered. Carlos said I have a few days to decide. Gabriel nodded, his expression unreadable. Then take those days. Think about what you really want, Ana. What will make you happy? What about what will make you happy? She asked softly. A sad smile touched Gabriel's lips. I think you know the answer to that. Later that evening, Ana Julia sat on the small porch of her cabin, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. The ranch spread out before her, peaceful and beautiful in the fading light. Could she really leave all this behind? A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. It was Martha, holding a plate of cookies. Thought you might want these, she said, settling into the chair beside Ana Julia. Thinking food, I call it. Ana Julia smiled despite herself. Thanks, Martha. They sat in companionable silence for a while, watching the sunset. Finally, Martha spoke. You know, when I first came to work here, Juan Melo, Gabriel's father, had just lost his wife. He was trying to raise a teenage boy on his own and run this ranch at the same time. It was too much for anyone. Ana Julia listened, curious where this story was leading. Gabriel was so angry back then, Martha continued. Angry at the world for taking his mother, angry at his father for being so consumed by grief he could barely function. That boy took on responsibilities no child should have to bear. Martha turned to look at Ana Julia directly. When Juan died, everyone expected Gabriel to sell. The smart thing, the easy thing, would have been to take the money and go live a comfortable life somewhere else. But he stayed and fought for this place, not because it was smart, but because it was home. Ana Julia nodded, understanding dawning. You're saying I should stay and fight too? Martha shook her head. I'm not saying what you should do. That's for you to decide. I'm just telling you that sometimes the hardest choice is the right one. And sometimes the thing we're most afraid of is exactly what we need to face. After Martha left, Ana Julia remained on the porch, thinking about her words. The hardest choice. The thing she was most afraid of, loving Gabriel, truly loving him, meant opening herself up to the possibility of being hurt. It meant believing she was worthy of his love in return. It meant facing her deepest fears and insecurities. Taking Carlos's job offer would be safer in many ways. It would please her father. It would let her prove herself in the conventional way society valued. It would protect her heart from the risk of loving too deeply, but it wouldn't make her happy. Deep down, she knew that. The next morning, Ana Julia rose early, her mind clearer than it had been in days. She needed to talk to Gabriel, to tell him everything she was feeling. But first, she had a call to make. She found the ranch's phone in the empty kitchen and dialed the number on Carlos's card. Ana, he answered cheerfully. Tell me you're calling with good news. I'm calling with my decision, Ana Julia replied, her voice steady. I'm not taking the job, Carlos. There was a pause on the other end. What? Why not? Because it's not what I want, she said simply. Thank you for the offer, but my life is here now. Is this about that rancher? Carlos asked, his tone disapproving. Ana, be realistic. Men like that don't marry girls like us. We're not part of their world. Ana Julia felt a surge of anger. You don't know anything about Gabriel or about me, not anymore. Tell my father I'm sorry to disappoint him again, but this time I'm choosing my own path. She hung up before Carlos could respond, a strange sense of liberation washing over her. For perhaps the first time in her life, she had made a decision, based solely on what she wanted, not what others expected of her. Now she just needed to find Gabriel. But as she stepped out onto the porch, she saw an unfamiliar car pulling up to the main house, a sleek black sedan with government plates. Two men in suits emerged, along with Elena Vasquez and an older man Ana Julia assumed was her father. From the barn, Gabriel appeared, walking toward the group with a purposeful stride. Even from a distance, Ana Julia could see the tension in his shoulders. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She hurried across the yard, arriving just in time to hear one of the suited men addressing Gabriel. "Mr. Mello, as I was explaining, the County Water Board has reviewed your usage rights. According to our records, your grandfather's original claim was only for agricultural purposes. The board has determined that your current usage exceeds those parameters." Gabriel's voice was controlled but tight with anger. "That's ridiculous. We use water the same way my family has for 3 generations. Eleanor's father stepped forward, all smooth charm. "Gabriel, this is why we've been trying to work with you. Our legal team discovered this discrepancy months ago. We've been trying to protect you with our partnership offer." "This isn't protection." Gabriel shot back. "It's extortion." The older Vasquez shrugged. "Call it what you will, the fact remains, without a legal challenge, which I'm sure you can't afford, your water rights will be severely curtailed. Unless, of course, you accept our very generous offer." Ana Julia watched the color drain from Gabriel's face. Without sufficient water rights, Rancho Esperanza couldn't function, couldn't survive. "I'll give you 1 week to reconsider," Mr. Vasquez said. "After that, we'll have no choice but to proceed with the board's decision." As the group turned to leave, Elena caught sight of Ana Julia standing nearby. She paused, a smile of false sympathy on her face. "I tried to warn him," she said, just loud enough for Ana Julia to hear. "Business is business. Sentiment is for fools." After they drove away, Gabriel stood motionless in the yard, his face a mask of controlled fury and despair. Ana Julia approached him cautiously. "Gabriel, what can I do?" He looked at her as if just noticing her presence. "Nothing," he said flatly. "There's nothing anyone can do." "There must be something," Ana Julia insisted. "A lawyer, an appeal. With what money?" Gabriel interrupted, his voice harsh with frustration. "The bank is already hesitant to extend my loan. I can't afford a legal battle with the Vasquez family. They have teams of lawyers on retainer." Ana Julia reached for his hand, but Gabriel stepped back. "I need to think," he said. "I need to be alone right now." He walked away, his shoulders slumped in a way Ana Julia had never seen before. This proud, strong man suddenly looked defeated, and it broke her heart. Throughout the day, the news spread among the ranch hands. The mood was somber, everyone understanding what was at stake. Without water, there would be no crops, no hay for the animals, no Rancho Esperanza. Ana Julia tried to find Gabriel again, but Martha told her he had ridden out to the far pastures and likely wouldn't be back until nightfall. "Give him time," the older woman advised. "This is a hard blow." As evening fell, Ana Julia sat at her kitchen table trying to think of solutions. There had to be a way out of this trap the Vasquez family had set. Gabriel couldn't lose his family's legacy, not after fighting so hard to preserve it. A knock at her door startled her from her thoughts. She opened it to find Gabriel standing there, his hair windblown, his expression somber but resolute. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. Ana Julia stepped aside to let him enter. He stood in the middle of her small cabin, seeming too large for the space, too vital. "I've been thinking all day," he began without preamble, "about the ranch, about the Vasquez offer, about you." Ana Julia's heart skipped a beat. "What did you decide?" Gabriel met her eyes directly. "I'm going to fight. I don't know if I can win, but I won't give up without trying. This ranch has been in my family for generations. I won't be the one to lose it." Relief flooded through Ana Julia. "I'm glad," she said, "and I want to help however I can." A hint of Gabriel's rare smile touched his lips. "I was hoping you'd say that, because what I need most right now is something to fight for, not just against." He took a deep breath. "I meant what I said the other night, Ana. I'm falling in love. With you. That hasn't changed." Ana Julia felt tears spring to her eyes. "I turned down Carlos's job offer," she blurted out. "I called him this morning. I told him I'm staying here." Surprise flashed across Gabriel's face. "You did? Why?" Because this is where I belong, Ana Julia said simply. Because I'm falling in love with you too. The words hung in the air between them, honest and vulnerable and true. Then Gabriel was, crossing the small space, gathering her into his arms, his lips finding hers in a kiss that felt like coming home. When they finally broke apart, Gabriel rested his forehead against hers. Whatever happens with the ranch, with the water rights, with anything, knowing you're with me makes all the difference. Ana Julia wrapped her arms around him tightly. We'll figure it out together, she promised. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time in her life, Ana Julia felt truly strong. Not because she had all the answers or because she wasn't afraid, but because she was facing her fears head on, choosing love over safety, truth over doubt. As they stood together, in the gathering darkness, Ana Julia knew there were still battles ahead. The Vasquez family wouldn't give up easily. Gabriel's ranch was still in danger. Her own insecurities wouldn't vanish overnight, but for now, in this moment, she allowed herself to simply be happy, to believe that maybe, just maybe, she really was worth more than this whole farm, and that together, she and Gabriel could face whatever came next. The next morning, Gabriel called a meeting with all the ranch hands in the main house. Everyone gathered around the large kitchen table, faces serious and concerned. Ana Julia sat beside Gabriel, their shoulders touching, a silent show of support. By now, you've all heard about the water rights issue, Gabriel began, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The Vasquez family is trying to force me to sell. If they succeed, Rancho Esperanza as we know it won't survive. Miguel leaned forward. What can we do, boss? Gabriel took a deep breath. I won't lie to you. This is going to be a fight, and I can't guarantee we'll win. If any of you want to start looking for other work, I understand. No hard feelings, Teresa snorted. Don't be ridiculous, we're not going anywhere. Murmurs of agreement sounded around the table. Martha reached over and patted Gabriel's hand. This ranch is our home too. We'll stand with you. Gabriel's eyes showed a flash of emotion before he nodded. Thank you. All of you. So what's the plan? Miguel asked. First, I need to find a lawyer who knows water rights, Gabriel said. Someone who'll take on the Vasquez family without charging a fortune we don't have. I might know someone, Martha said thoughtfully. My nephew studied environmental law. He works for one of those non-profit groups that help small farmers with legal issues. I could give him a call. Do it, Gabriel agreed. And Miguel, I need you to go through all the old records in the office. Look for anything about water usage, agreements, maps, anything that might help our case. As everyone dispersed to their tasks, Ana Julia stayed at the table with Gabriel. When they were alone, she took his hand. What can I do? She asked. Gabriel squeezed her hand gently. I need you to keep the ranch running while I fight this battle. The animals still need care. The chores still need doing. Of course, Ana Julia nodded. But I want to do more. There must be something else. Gabriel hesitated. There is one thing, but I hate to ask. Your preserves. They've been selling well at the local store, right? Ana Julia nodded. After the fall festival, the general store in town had started carrying her jams and jellies. They were becoming quite popular. If you could ramp up production, get more stores to carry them. Gabriel trailed off, clearly uncomfortable, asking for her help. You want me to make more preserves to help with ranch income? Ana Julia finished for him. Only if you want to, Gabriel said quickly. I know it's a lot to ask. Ana Julia felt a surge of determination. I can do better than that. Give me a day or two to work out a plan. That afternoon, while Gabriel was on the phone with Martha's nephew, Ana Julia drove into town. Her first stop was the general store where her preserves were sold. Frank, she called to the owner as she entered. Got a minute to talk business? Frank Porter, a balding man in his 60s, looked up from stocking shelves. Ana Julia, just sold your last jar of blackberry jam this morning. Folks are asking when we'll get more. Ana Julia smiled. That's what I wanted to talk about. How would you feel about carrying a full line of Rancho Esperanza preserves? More flavors, regular deliveries. Frank raised his eyebrows. I'd say, that sounds like a winner. Your stuff flies off the shelves. Good, Ana Julia said, because I'm planning to expand, and I need your help spreading the word. By the time she left the store, Frank had agreed not only to carry more of her preserves, but also to introduce her to the owners of 3 other stores in neighboring towns. It was a start. Her next stop was the local newspaper office. The Vista. Valley Gazette was small, but everyone in the county read it. If she could get some publicity for her preserves, it might help sales. The newspaper editor, Linda Jenkins, was initially skeptical when Ana Julia proposed a story. "We don't usually do free advertising," she explained. "It's not just about the preserves," Ana Julia countered. "It's about a local business fighting to survive against corporate interests, about a small ranch with deep roots in this community, struggling to preserve its heritage." Linda's expression changed. "Now that sounds like a story." She tapped her pen against her notepad. "Speaking of corporate interests, I've heard rumors about the Vasquez family causing trouble for Rancho Esperanza." Ana Julia hesitated. Gabriel hadn't discussed going public with their water rights issue, but maybe publicity was exactly what they needed. "Off the record?" she asked. Linda nodded, leaning forward. Ana Julia told her everything. How the Vasquez family was manipulating the water board, how they were trying to force Gabriel to sell, how the ranch's very existence was threatened. By the time she finished, Linda was already drafting headlines. "This is the kind of story people need to hear," she said firmly. "The Vasquez family may own half the county, but they don't own my newspaper. I'll run an editorial this week." Ana Julia left the newspaper office, feeling both nervous and excited. She hadn't planned to turn their private fight into a public one, but maybe it was the right move. The Vasquez family had money and power, but they also had reputations to protect. When she returned to the ranch, she found Gabriel in his office with a young man in casual clothes who she assumed was Martha's nephew. "Ana," Gabriel called when he saw her. "Come meet David Wallace, Martha's nephew and apparently a shark when it comes to water rights law." David laughed, standing to shake Ana Julia's hand. "I wouldn't say shark exactly, but I do know my way around water board regulations." "David's been reviewing our case," Gabriel explained, a hint of hope in his voice for the first time since the Vasquez threat. "He thinks we have a chance." "More than a chance," David corrected. "The Vasquez argument hinges on a technicality that I don't think will hold up under scrutiny. They're claiming your grandfather's original water claim was limited to specific agricultural uses that don't match your current ranch operations." "And is that true?" Ana Julia asked. David shook his head. "The original claim language is broad. It doesn't specify types of agriculture, just agricultural purposes in general. What's more, I found precedent in 3 similar cases where the board ruled in favor of the original claimant's descendants." Gabriel looked cautiously optimistic. "So you think we can win?" "I think we have a strong case," David replied. "But the Vasquez family has influence. This won't be just about legal arguments. It will also be about public opinion and politics." Ana Julia smiled. "That's exactly what I've been working on today." She told them about her visits to the general store and the newspaper. Gabriel looked surprised. "You did all that on your own? Initiative? Was that okay?" Ana Julia asked, suddenly uncertain. "I know we didn't discuss going public." "It's perfect," Gabriel interrupted, admiration clear in his eyes. "It's exactly what we need." David nodded in agreement. The Vasquez family thrives in the shadows. Public scrutiny is the last thing they want. Over the next few days, Ana Julia threw herself into both expanding her preserve business and helping with the water rights fight. She spent hours in the kitchen making batch after batch of jams and jellies, while also gathering statements from longtime residents about the importance of Rancho Esperanza to the community. Gabriel worked equally hard, dividing his time between regular ranch operations and building their legal case with David. In the evenings, they would sit together on the porch, sharing their progress and drawing strength from each other. "Frank says he sold out of the new apple cinnamon preserves in one day," Ana Julia reported one night, "and 2 more stores want to carry our products." Gabriel smiled, taking her hand. "Our products?" Ana Julia blushed. "I mean, technically they're from your fruit trees." "They're our products," Gabriel said firmly. "This is your business as much as mine now." The word "our" warmed Ana Julia from the inside out. How far she had come from the insecure young woman who had arrived at Rancho, Esperanza convinced she would fail again. Here with Gabriel, she had found not just love but also purpose and confidence. On Sunday morning, Linda's editorial appeared in the Gazette. The headline was bold: "Corporate Greed Threatens Historic Ranch." The article detailed the Vasquez family's attempts to manipulate water rights and force smaller landowners to sell. It didn't mention Rancho Esperanza specifically, but everyone in the county would know which ranch and which corporate family Linda was referring to. By Monday afternoon, the article had created a stir. Several longtime residents called the ranch to offer support. The local farmers' co-op passed a resolution condemning underhanded tactics against family farms. Even the mayor, usually careful to stay neutral in business disputes, made a statement about the importance of protecting the county's agricultural heritage. Then came a call from an unexpected source. "There's a Ricardo Vasquez on the phone for you," Martha told Gabriel, her expression puzzled. "Says he's Elena's uncle." Gabriel took the call in his office, with Ana Julia sitting nearby. From Gabriel's side of the conversation, it was clear that Ricardo was distancing himself from his brother's tactics. "I understand. Yes, that's correct. I appreciate your position. Tomorrow at 2 would work fine." When he hung up, Gabriel looked both surprised and cautiously hopeful. "Ricardo Vasquez wants to meet. Says he doesn't approve of how his brother is handling this situation." "Do you believe him?" Ana Julia asked skeptically. Gabriel shrugged. "I don't know. The Vasquez family isn't known for internal disagreements, but Ricardo has always been the more reasonable of the brothers. It's worth hearing what he has to say." The next day, Ricardo Vasquez arrived at Rancho Esperanza precisely at 2 o'clock. He was older than his brother, with silver hair and a less aggressive manner. Gabriel invited him into the living room, where Ana Julia served coffee. "I'll be direct, Gabriel," Ricardo began. "My brother's approach to acquiring your water rights is not something I condone. The newspaper article was embarrassing for our family." "I had nothing to do with that article," Gabriel replied, though he didn't mention Ana Julia's involvement. Ricardo waved a hand dismissively. "Regardless, it's brought unwanted attention. My niece Elena is particularly upset about the public perception." Ana Julia bit back a smile at the thought of Elena's discomfort. "So what are you proposing?" Gabriel asked. "A compromise," Ricardo said. "The water board hearing is scheduled for next week. I suggest we cancel it and negotiate directly. Your water rights remain intact, and in exchange we discuss a limited partnership for future development, one that respects your autonomy and the ranch's heritage." Gabriel looked thoughtful. "Why the change of heart?" Ricardo sighed. "Frankly, my brother's tactics are creating problems beyond this specific issue. Our family has lived in this county for generations, too. We don't need to be seen as bullies." He glanced at Ana Julia. "Besides, I understand congratulations may be in order soon. Family feuds are tiresome things to pass down to the next generation, Ana." Julia felt her cheeks grow warm. Were her feelings for Gabriel that obvious to everyone? After Ricardo left, Gabriel and Ana Julia sat together on the porch swing, discussing the offer. "What do you think?" Gabriel asked her. "Can we trust him?" Ana. Julia considered the question carefully. "I think Ricardo is sincere about wanting to avoid bad publicity. Whether that means we can trust him long-term, I don't know," Gabriel nodded. "David says we should proceed with caution, get everything in writing, and have him review any agreement before we sign." "That seems wise," Ana Julia agreed. "But Gabriel, if this works, if the water rights threat is resolved, what does that mean for the ranch?" Gabriel turned to face her fully. "It means we have a future," he said simply. "A future I very much hope includes you." Ana Julia's heart skipped a beat. "What exactly are you saying?" "I'm saying I love you," Gabriel replied, taking her hands in his. "I'm saying that whatever happens with the ranch, with the water rights, with anything, I want you by my side. Not as an employee, not as a business partner, but as my partner in everything." Ana Julia felt tears well in her eyes. "Are you proposing to me, Gabriel Mello?" A slow smile spread across his face. "Not yet. When I do, you'll know it. But I am asking if that's something you might want. A future together, building something that's ours. Yes, Ana Julia whispered, her voice thick with emotion. That's exactly what I want. Gabriel pulled her close, his kiss a promise of everything to come. The next week passed in a whirlwind of activity. David worked with Ricardo's lawyers to draft an agreement that would protect Rancho Esperanza's water rights while allowing for limited cooperation on future projects. Ana Julia's preserve business continued to grow, with orders now coming in from stores as far away as Santa Cruz. Meanwhile, word had somehow reached Ana Julia's father about both her relationship with Gabriel and her successful business venture. To her surprise, he called the ranch, asking to speak with her. "Your cousin Carlos says you've gotten yourself mixed up with some rancher," he said without preamble. "Says you turned down a good job for this preserve business." Ana Julia took a deep breath, preparing for his criticism. "Yes, Papa, I did." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Carlos also says your jams are selling in stores all over the county." "They are," Ana Julia confirmed, surprised by his interest. Another pause. "Your mother used to make preserves. Hers were the best in our town." Ana Julia felt a lump form in her throat. Her father rarely spoke of her mother. "I remember," she said softly. "I use her recipe for the strawberry jam. Is it good, your business?" her father asked, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Yes, Papa, it's very good." To her astonishment, her father cleared his throat and said, "Then perhaps I was wrong about you, Ana Julia. Perhaps you found your path after all." The call ended shortly. But Ana Julia sat holding the phone long after her father had hung up. It wasn't exactly an apology, but coming from her proud, critical father, it was as close as she would ever get. When she told Gabriel about the conversation, he hugged her tightly. "He's beginning to see what I've known all along, how extraordinary you are." On the day of the scheduled water board hearing, now cancelled in favor of their private agreement, Ricardo Vasquez and his lawyers came to Rancho Esperanza to sign the documents. Gabriel's team, including David, had reviewed everything carefully. The agreement protected the ranch's water rights fully while allowing for potential future collaborations that would benefit both parties. Notably absent were Ricardo's brother and Elena. When Gabriel inquired about their absence, Ricardo simply said, "They've been overruled in this matter. Family politics." His tone made it clear the subject was closed. After the papers were signed, Martha insisted on serving a celebratory lunch. The mood was light, the future suddenly looking much brighter than it had just weeks before. As the Vasquez contingent prepared to leave, Ricardo took Gabriel aside for a private word. Ana Julia couldn't hear what was said, but when Gabriel rejoined her, he looked thoughtful. "What did Ricardo want?" she asked. "He suggested we consider supplying our beef to there." "New resort development," Gabriel explained. "Said they're committed to featuring local products. He also mentioned your preserves. Apparently his wife tried them and was impressed." Ana Julia smiled. "That would be good for business." "For both our businesses," Gabriel agreed. "It's strange to think that just a few weeks ago, the Vasquez family was our greatest threat. Now they might become important customers. Life is full of surprises," Ana Julia said, thinking of how much had changed since she first arrived at Rancho Esperanza. That evening, Gabriel asked Ana Julia to join him for a ride to the south pasture. It was her favorite part of the ranch, rolling hills dotted with wildflowers, a small stream running through the lower meadow, the mountains rising in the distance. They rode in comfortable silence, enjoying the golden light of late afternoon. When they reached the top of the highest hill, Gabriel suggested they stop to watch the sunset. They spread a blanket on the grass, and Gabriel produced a small basket with bread, cheese, and a bottle of wine. "You planned this," Ana Julia accused. With a smile, Gabriel's eyes crinkled at the corners. "Guilty." As they ate and drank, watching the sun sink toward the horizon, Ana Julia felt a sense of peace she had never known before. This place, this man, this life, it was everything she hadn't known she needed. When the sun was just touching the distant mountains, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, Gabriel turned to her. "I brought you here for a reason," he said, his voice suddenly serious. This is my favorite spot on the whole ranch. It's where my father used to bring me when he wanted to talk about important things, where he taught me about responsibility and legacy and love. Ana Julia's heart began to beat faster as Gabriel took her hands in his. The first day you came to Rancho Esperanza, I told you that you were worth more than this whole farm. I meant it then, and I mean it even more now. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wooden box. Ana Julia Freitas, I love you. Will you marry me? He opened the box to reveal a simple but beautiful ring, a single diamond set in white gold, flanked by 2 small sapphires. Tears filled Ana Julia's eyes. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Gabriel, I will marry you. As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Gabriel explained, it was my mother's. My father gave it to me before he died, said I should save it for when I found someone as special as she was. His voice grew husky with emotion. He would have loved you, Ana. I wish I could have met him, Ana Julia said softly. In a way you have, Gabriel replied. This ranch, the way I try to live my life, that's all part of his legacy, and now it will be our legacy together. The word our no longer frightened Ana Julia. Instead, it filled her with joy and determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As they rode back to the ranch house in the gathering dusk, Ana Julia looked down at the ring on her finger, glinting in the last light of day. From insecure ranch hand to confident businesswoman and soon-to-be wife, it was a journey she could never have imagined when she stepped off that bus months ago. Martha was the first to spot the ring when they returned. Her delighted shriek brought everyone running from various parts of the ranch house. It's about time, she exclaimed, hugging them both. I've been waiting for this moment since the day you arrived, Ana Julia. Miguel whistled appreciatively. Boss finally got the courage to ask, huh? Teresa wiped away a tear, trying to hide it. You two were made for each other. Everyone could see it. As congratulations and good wishes surrounded them, Ana Julia felt Gabriel's arm wrap securely around her waist, anchoring her in this moment of joy. Later that night, as they sat together on the porch of what would soon be their shared home, Gabriel asked, Any regrets about staying here instead of taking that city job? Ana Julia shook her head, smiling. Not one. This is where I belong. Where I've always belonged, I just didn't know it. And your father? Will he come to the wedding, Ana? Julia considered this. I think he will. He's changing slowly. And even if he doesn't fully understand my choices, I'm at peace with that now. Gabriel nodded, understanding in his eyes. You know, when my father died, and I was struggling to save this place, everyone told me to let it go. That fighting for... It was too hard, too risky. But you didn't give up, Ana Julia said. No, Gabriel agreed. Because some things are worth fighting for, even when it seems impossible. He touched her cheek gently. You taught me that all over again. Me? Ana Julia asked, surprised. How? By showing me that there are some risks worth taking, even for someone as cautious as me. He smiled. Falling in love with you was the biggest risk I've taken since deciding to save this ranch, and the best decision I've ever made. Ana Julia leaned her head against his shoulder, contentment washing over her. For me, too. As stars appeared in the darkening sky, Ana Julia thought about the journey that had brought her here, all the failures and disappointments that had seemed so devastating at the time but had ultimately led her to Rancho Esperanza. To Gabriel, to herself. You were right, you know, she said softly. About what? Gabriel asked. That first day when I spilled the feed, you said I was worth more than this whole farm. She looked up at him, her eyes shining in the moonlight. I didn't believe you then, I couldn't, but now I do. Gabriel's smile was tender as he leaned down to kiss her. And I'll spend a lifetime making sure you never forget it again. In the distance, a coyote called to the moon, and somewhere in the stables Estrella nickered softly to her growing foal. The sounds of the ranch at night, Ana Julia's ranch now, her home, her future. The broken girl who had stepped off that bus months ago, expecting only a temporary job and one more disappointment, had found instead a love that healed her, a purpose that fulfilled her, and a place where she truly belonged. Worth more than this whole farm? Yes. And finally, Ana Julia believed it. The end.